Your message will reach a wide audience effectively.
Extensive network. iRadio is not just a radio station. It's a network of interconnected stations. When you partner with iRadio, we'll broadcast your program across multiple locations such as Wow, Awil, Kwajok, Yambio, Bor, Rang, Malaka.
Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. President Salva Kiir has issued a series of presidential decrees removing and appointing senior government officials, lawmakers, and diplomats, with many of them affiliated with the SPLM in opposition. Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell says resettlement of Palestinians in South Sudan was not part of the diplomatic agenda during her historic visit to Juba on Wednesday. And a former South Sudanese student leader in Rwanda is warning parents back home about some students abandoning their studies while continuing to receive financial support from their families. This is stories and more coming to in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo. And now the news in detail. President Salva Kiir has issued a series of presidential decrees removing and appointing senior government officials, lawmakers and diplomats, with many of them affiliated with the SPLM in opposition. The decrees were read on the state broadcaster SSBC last evening. In the Ministry of Finance, Kiir relieved Bech George Anyak from his position as Deputy Minister and appointed Yen Chan Gach Rai in his place. The president also revoked the appointments of several SPLM IO members in key legislative positions. These include Honorable Oyet Nathaniel, who served as First Deputy Speaker of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Honorable Deng Akon, Speaker of the Council of States, and Honorable Farouk Gatkoth, SPLM IO Chief Whip in the Transitional National Legislative Assembly. He also removed Regina Joseph Kaba, Guy, both members of the TNLA, and Honorable Matata Frank Elikana from the Council of States. In new appointments, he named Daniel Akot and Wani Elia as SPLM-IO representatives in the Council of States. Meanwhile, the TNLA will see new SPLM-IO members including John Otor, Mariani, Malong Achirian, Julia and Peter Chalaman. Additionally, President Kiir dismissed 4 ambassadors from their foreign missions. Those relieved of their duties are John Andruga, Mayendud Wall, Riek, and Joshua Franco-Paul. Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell says resettlement of Palestinians in South Sudan was not part of the diplomatic agenda during her historic visit to Juba on Wednesday. This comes in response to media reports suggesting the two countries were in talks about the matter. Haskell, who spoke to iRadio in an exclusive interview on Wednesday, said that while there have been efforts to see if Palestinians from Gaza would want to be resettled or immigrate to other places, there has been no official conversation with the South Sudanese government on the matter. She said, and I quote, "There is a plan in Israel and there have been attempts to see whether Palestinians from Gaza would want to be resettled or immigrate to other places, but there hasn't been an official conversation with the South Sudanese government," end quote. During a visit, Haskell met with His Excellency the President to discuss the long history of friendship between the two countries. She recalled the signing of an important memorandum of understanding between Israel and South Sudan, which is said opens official channels for dialogue and cooperation in various fields, including health, care, energy, agriculture and security. Haskell also announced that Israel has extended a humanitarian package of food and medical supplies to South Sudan to assist civilians in need. She expressed gratitude for the support and solidarity her country has received from the South Sudanese government and people. A former South Sudanese student leader in Rwanda is warning parents back home about some students abandoning their studies while continuing to receive financial support from their families. In a message to parents and sponsors, wrote Mawich Yak Deng, the former representative of the South Sudanese Students Association at the Kigali Independent shared one shocking example of a female student who went as far as faking her graduation. She had a gown made by a local tailor, printed a fake dissertation written by someone else, and even posed for graduation photos. When her father flew in from Juba to attend the ceremony, she claimed her name had been read in the local language Kinyarwanda. Later, she told him the certificate would be ready in 3 months, despite university policy to issue it within weeks. But the truth is, she had failed her first year finance course and had no academic records beyond that. The university finally informed her parent that she had never qualified to graduate. Deng, who also leads Youth Agenda South Sudan in Kigali, says such cases are not isolated. He is urging parents to actively monitor their children's progress by requesting academic transcripts and contacting universities directly. Deng also advises students to regularly check their own academic records through the university's MIS portal to avoid negligence and mistakes. This is our Radio Morning News, and now to the international scene. Cape Verde has declared a state of emergency on the islands of São Vicente and Santo Antão after deadly floods which killed at least 9 people and forced 1,500 people from their homes. The state of emergency activates crisis funds and urgent infrastructure repairs in the Atlantic Ocean islands off the west coast of Africa. Monday's floods were triggered by Tropical Storm Erin, leading to 193 millimeters of rain in just 5 hours, far above São Vicente's annual average. Deputy Prime Minister Olavo Correa told the BBC the floods were catastrophic. Finally, European leaders are said to cautiously be optimistic after holding a virtual meeting with Donald Trump on Wednesday, 2 days before he meets his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Alaska to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. Trump reportedly told the Europeans that his goal for the summit was to obtain a ceasefire between Moscow and Kiev. He also agreed that any territorial issue had to be decided with Volodymyr Zelensky's involvement and that security guarantees had to be part of the deal. Speaking to Trump had allowed him to clarify his intentions and gave the Europeans a chance to express their expectations. This is iRadio Morning News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. President Salva Kiir has issued a series of presidential decrees removing and appointing senior government officials, lawmakers, and diplomats, with many of them affiliated with the SPLM opposition. Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskel says resettlement of Palestinians in South Sudan was not part of the diplomatic agenda during her historic visit to Juba on Wednesday. And a former South Sudanese student leader in Rwanda is warning parents back home about some students abandoning their studies while continuing to receive financial support from their families. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287 It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 8 o'clock. I'm Lasuba. Memo. Thanks for listening.